howdy, hey, everybody. Happy Saturday night.
Aloha.
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 Hello.
Cheers. Welcome to the show, Steve Tikiman.
So good to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We're excited about tonight's show, of course, because it's Saturday and Steve is here, hang out with us and talk about all things Polynesian. And I'm going to pull up right from the start here the Tikiman's unofficial Polynesian resort pages on Facebook. And you can find them over at www.facebook.com/Tikiman pages. Great page, a lot of cool Polynesian history and photos that not only from Steve but other people submit, and he shares into the pages. So some cool stuff there indeed.
It's a page I like to look at just because I'm a big fan of the poly, so
Yeah.
I like to scroll through that a bunch and just look at
Nice.
Get lost, dream.
Yeah, reminisce about your past trips and next time you're going and you're going to be.
And my mental vision board,
Exactly.
Add things to do, right?
Yeah. I'm always slightly mentally, I guess, at the Polynesian. In the back of my head, I'm always kind of there.
You know what? There's a part of us as true poly fans, you never really leave. There's a piece of you always there.
Right. For me, all the time, no matter where I'm. I keep pressing the wrong things here. I want to let everybody know. Of course, we are live. Please share us out if you don't mind. We'd love that. Give them some likes, some love, some thumbs up. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We're also on Twitter, but I never really post there. But maybe in the future we will.
Twitter's a good place to go, I think. I mean, there's a lot of people watch there.
Yeah, we should. I should start really trying to build that up when I have some time.
Watch. That's the thing that's going to make us huge.
That's the one thing?
That'll be the one.
Why are we not doing that already? We have some sponsor stuff to do tonight with dvc-rental.com, our DVC sponsor, as well as the Magic World. So we can get right into that because I want to spend as much time speaking with Steve about not just the Tikiman page, but again, all things poly.
Well, here it comes. It's ready.
Are you ready? Oh, you're gonna float?
Floating.
All right, float. All right, we've got a good deal of the week for you guys here. It is not a Polynesian deal of the week, but it's the next best thing. It's Bayley Tower, right? We have a check-in of August 30th and a checkout of September 1st. So 2 nights total. Bayley Tower's deluxe studio with a lake view, unbelievable view. This room's going to sleep your 4 people plus an infant. And for the 2 nights, it's only $672. So I know, Jay, every week, you help with the math, but I think that comes out to like $5,000 a night.
Oh, yeah.
Per person.
Did you say 5,000?
Well,
Yeah, my math is off,
using
right?
our special DVC code for 50, if the 4 of us went and took that deal right now, 2 nights, Bayley Tower, lake view, $156 for each of us.
And that's including, so remember, promo code NTD50, Lisa, save $50 off any reservation when you book at dvc-rental.com. You guys, what's the best way to get this deal? You want to reach out to Scott at dvc-rental.com. You want to tell him you want this deal. You want to tell him that us over at Disney Night Live, and now that's Disney, we sent you. You also want to tell him how awesome we are and that Alan smells.
Yeah.
And what else?
That's why he couldn't be on tonight, because we could smell him from the studio.
He's actually showering right now. Yeah, he's
all that Axe body spray. I've warned him.
He smells of cuteness is what he smells. Please go book this deal. Promo code NTD50 to save $50 off. So it would actually only be $622 for the 2 nights. Again, Bayley Towers is, I think, my second favorite resort that I stayed at on property. I really, really did enjoy that stay. We also want to make sure that we tell our friends about the other part of DVC-rental side of things, which is buyandselldvc.com. If you're looking to buy a resale contract or you want to sell your contract, reach out to Scott and Jason over there at buyandselldvc.com, and you can get that done. And let's not forget our other friends over at dmagicworld.com, 24/7 streaming Disney music magic. They have the parks music, they have the movie music, they have, now that's Disney Night Live twice a week, right? So you could hear us twice a week. Here's my head. If you tune in, that's also awesome.
Yes.
Please check them out. You choose what they play. Let them know what you want to hear. Tell Jasper, the station's awesome.
D-Magic World, home of the most attractive listeners on the internet, best people,
Yes.
best personalities, smart people. We love them.
We do love them, and we get to pretend how good looking we are because they really can't see us unless they're watching us live, which would be really cool. So please make sure you check them out at dmagicworld.com. Love it. Okay,
And
cool.
it's a mood lifter. Like you just completely in your zone. So it's so good.
We got it. It really is. I mean, what's better than like listening to Disney music and thinking about being there?
I'm not gonna lie, I love it when we randomly pop up and you just hear a bit of us. It's so
I know.
fun. It's like my favorite. I love that part.
It is awesome. I'm going to put back up here the Tiki Man pages, which is facebook.com/Tiki Man pages. And so let's dive into, I guess, all things Poly, Steve. I mean, I saw your page and the site. I know that's a work in progress, but the page several years ago, and really just, enjoyed all of what you have there to offer and the photos and stuff, and being DVC owners at the Poly and Poly fans. And so it's not the resort, but also like the culture that comes with it and the drinks. Yeah.
The drink.
The drinks.
Definitely the drinks.
The
Yes.
food,
Exactly.
atmosphere.
Right?
All of it.
Yeah, it really is. Like, and the music, like the first time I went there, I was an adult. My wife was there as a child, and I fell in love with Poly. And just everything about it is great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about like the pages and like how did you like get into the whole Polynesian, vibe and everything that you do?
Yeah, well, I grew up and still live in California. So in the 80s, we'd always go to Disneyland. I've been going to Disneyland since I was, little in the 70s. And then in the 80s, we, started going to Hawaii, Oahu, Maui. And we'd spend multiple weeks there. I kind of didn't do the touristy stuff as a kid, so I'd kind of hang out with the local kids and kind of really started to learn. In fact, a lot of them thought I lived there. So I kind of learned it not from a tourist perspective, but from a local perspective, and appreciate the culture. Well, so I formed a love for Hawaii. And then I had a love for Disney from being a kid going to Disneyland forever. And then, 1982 rolls around and they have a special on TV about this Epcot Center. And I'm like, what the heck is that? I got to go see that. So 1983, we go to Disney World for the first time, because before that, it's like, why fly across the country to go to another Disneyland? And now that they got Epcot Center, I got to see it. So that's where my love for Disney World, came about. And I saw the Polynesian, but we didn't stay there. And I'm like, what the heck is this? There's like a Hawaii in the middle of Florida. So for me, into the 90s, when I could start to, as a 20-year-old, want to go on vacation, I'd always say, do I want to go to Hawaii or do I want to go to Disney World? Going to Disney World and staying in the Polynesian, you're getting Disneyland, Disney stuff, and you're getting Hawaii in one. Because when you're at the resort, especially back then, you were immersed in that feeling. Now, I get the Polynesian really wasn't gearing towards being a Hawaiian resort. It was more supposed to be a different islands, and actually the Imagineers, their idea was like Adventureland. But still, it gives you as close as you can feel to that culture, the music and the entertainers and the smells and the tropical plants and everything. You just don't feel like it's not like going to Disneyland in downtown Anaheim. you're somewhere else. You're on your own little island, and then you can go across the water or on the monorail, and next thing you're in the park. So you get the best of both worlds, and that's where, for me, it became such an important destination for vacation, to get all those things that I enjoy all in one.
Wow. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's a lot to offer. I mean, there's so much going on, and I've never been to Hawaii. I definitely want to stay in Oahu, but I definitely also want to go to Hawaii. I've never been to Disneyland. I think Lisa and Jay, Jay definitely used to work there.
Yeah,
right? And Lisa, yeah, right.
And I've been in Hawaii. There's just this quiet magic about Hawaii, and it's a feeling, and you get that same feeling at the Poly. I mean, Dave, once you get to the island for the first time, you're going to see what it is. I mean, and it's not something you can explain to people. They have to actually walk in the doors and get that feeling.
It's a total experience. The minute you
it's not
the scent, the sights, everything.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten so obsessed that not only do we have Polynesian stuff in our house, but we just recently bought the same scent air system that they use at the Polynesian, along with the scents that they use there. So, of course, we walk around our house, and we're sniffing the smells of the lobby and the Captain Cook's, and because they use different scents in different areas. So it's funny how those scents bring you back to a different place. It gives you a calmness, gives you a different feel, relieves some of the stress. But I mean, it's the Polynesian. We've gotten to the point where now we'll even go to the Polynesian. It's a long trip for us. It's a California 5-hour flight. We'll go there and not even go into the parks. The Polynesian is our destination. The Polynesian is where we're staying while we're out there and just enjoying the aspects of the resort. So, I mean, of course, for me too, every time I'm at the resort, I'm usually going from end to end, looking at everything, seeing what's going on, what's new, what's in the back. In the past, I was updating I have Longhouse maps of all the rooms, and so it's a lot of work when I go there too. I'll probably spend a day or two just kind of doing stuff to update the web page or the site, and it's a lot of work, but it's worth it because I'm able to help people understand. Did we lose everybody? There we go.
Oh no, we're here.
We're here.
Understand the resort better. So I can help them have a better experience when they go. Because so many people ask me, what's it like? Where do I get a room? What kind of view do I get? What do I have to expect? Because that's why my page originally started in the late 90s, was because when I wanted to go on my own without my parents, I go to a travel agent and I say, well, what's the Polynesian like? What do I get if I get a lagoon view? And they open up this brochure that has like one picture and the prices of all the rooms. No idea what I'm getting myself into or what I'm paying for. So being able to tell people what to expect so they know what they maybe want to pay for or not is the biggest thing that I can offer people, so they can go and either have a good experience and do it the way they want to do it, or even in some cases, some people may say, yeah, that's not really the theming for me. I don't want to talk to somebody into going there. I want them to go because they want to go. I don't want them to end up going, yeah, I'm not really into the tropical thing. I would have rather gone to the Grand Floridian or Contemporary. So, having that information is important.
That's what's great about your site, though. It's not like going to the Disney webpage where everything is super magical. It's honest, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, right. And it's not just from Steve; it's from
from
other people. Yeah, right. And it's.
I definitely rely on people all the time. I mean, being in California, you got to have people out there. I know you met Scott. Scott lives there, so he goes over there a lot of times and helps out. It's seeing what's going on. I've gotten away from the daily news. I don't need to know. I'll sometimes post what the new Dole Whip is, but there's so many bloggers out there right now that tell you the new food of the day or whatever. I've gotten kind of away from what's happening day to day or week to week to more of I'm trying to retain the history, because I've met so many of the Imagineers that have worked there and cast members that have worked there, and nobody's holding on to the history of the photos, the information. So a lot of the cast members that have worked there for the last 20, 30 years have given me paperwork or copies of paperwork that they have in the back offices that just ends up disappearing or being thrown away. So I have lists of what happens from 1971 till the mid 2000s on, cast member costumes changed on this date, or the luau was built, or the luau had the bathrooms installed, or the longhouses were built, or everything. It was just like, and I try and keep track of that because people don't understand how much the resort has evolved since day one, and in some good ways, in some ways people don't like, like everyone's upset about the luau going, but right. Keep your fingers crossed. Years ago when I heard about it going away, they had mentioned it going to be an indoor experience because there's so many issues with it being outside and shutting down because of the cold or weather or whatever, that they had talked about wanting to move it indoors back in the days when they were building DVC. So maybe we're going to see that with the new DVC. Who knows? We'll know soon, probably.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited about that new build. I mean, I'm always excited to see something because you see, the imagery of what they say it's going to look like, right? But until it's really done, and then you can judge it, or when you're there with your feet on the ground. So I'm excited to see that. I know a lot of people were really upset about it. Hi, buddy. Sorry. So I'm excited to see that, and I also want to know, as a DVC owner at the Poly, how that's going to work. With my points.
Me too.
My points going to apply, right? Like, yeah, can I use my points at this new building, or is this
if the rooftop pool rumor is true? I'm buying all in. Scott at DVC.
No rooftop pool.
No,
but I think there's a grand villa, so maybe we can all rent out the grand villa and
there you go,
and check it out from there. But
right, yeah.
There's a lot of concepts. I mean, I have pictures and of a lot of concepts that came out for the last DVC build that never happened. I can't share. Someday I'll be able to share them when all the people that work for Disney leave or die or whatever.
Right.
But
is this
for now, some people have seen it, and no. But okay. they had a whole different idea for what they were going to do for the pool area outside the Great Ceremonial House back when they built DVC. Well, first of all, there was going to be another pool that was going to be over between the DVC buildings that got scrapped. And the second thing was that the volcano pool that became the lava pool was going to become a completely different area than it was. And obviously that must have been part of the cutbacks too, because all they ended up doing was forming the volcano into the lava pool and resurfacing the pool itself as is. And then adding it was originally called the Gathering Place, the grass area that's there. I guess there's really not a name for it now, but officially it was in the documents. It said the Gathering Place, and that was where the entertainment was going to be. And they were even going to have a stage there that they had to have some of the dancers and stuff on, but it became the area for the movies, as we know, and the activities. And, we all know the reason it's artificial grass is because when they first put in real grass, it was a muddy mess. And they were like, it rains here all the time. People can't go laying down on muddy lawn trying to watch movies. So it made sense to put in the fake grass, as much as everyone makes fun of it and calls it the putting green, or the miniature golf, whatever. But, plans change, and they probably will with the new DVC.
Right.
We'll see how it turns out. I mean, I think there's going to be some surprises that people will like. I'm with you. I hope that my access for being a DVC owner there is going to allow me in there, and it's not going to be like a separate contract. My DVC expert that I refer to for my site seems to think it's going to be that they'll just do a contract with however many years would be left from the original Polynesian contracts, because it hasn't been that long.
Right.
And I'm hoping that's the case. Like, it's just an add-on to the same contracts. But yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. I'll stand with the crowd that says they're a little disappointed that it doesn't kind of match the resort. And if you look at, I had posted some concept pictures they had when they were going to do the 5-story buildings over where Pago Pago is, because they were going to pull out those buildings and put in 5-story buildings there originally, including where the luau was, because that was where the first phase 1 was going to be originally.
Oh, wow.
Well, those 5-story buildings looked like 5-story longhouses. The roofs looked like a 5-story longhouse. The top of it had the kind of the beams like the Great Ceremonial House had the same colors. So it really fit well. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't try and incorporate a little bit of that a little more into the concept for this new DVC. So,
we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm hoping that Baylen Tower and Contemporary, they don't look the same, but they match very well. And
right.
I'm hoping they look the same thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I thought that too, because that was my first comment too. I'm like, well, Bayley Towers doesn't really look like another, piece of the Contemporary, but it does go with the theme. I think people are just saying this new one looks a little bit just too modern, and I kind of agree. But maybe that'll change, or maybe once it's really there, it'll look a little bit different, or maybe there'd be some accents that we don't see in these concept art that we'll see in person that'll be a little bit more, like you're saying, fit the theme, but maybe not be a replica of the Longhouses. The Longhouses will be kind of like their own segment. And when I try and remind people that this isn't Walt's concept of the Polynesian. Walt's concept of the Polynesian was a huge pyramid-looking, structure in the middle with bungalows out around the edge, which we got their bungalows, right? But we didn't get this huge building in the middle, which people nowadays, if they built that, they would hate it. But, that was what Walt signed off on. When he was gone and they decided to go a whole nother direction, we got what we got, which is, like I said, supposed to be an Adventureland fitting theme. And so, maybe that would have been a mix of something a little more modern and something a little more tropical. So maybe that's going to be kind of the same idea. We'll see.
That's a front picture of that's the new.
Loving the update.
The new front of the Polynesian Great Ceremonial House. I grabbed that off of your Tikiman page.
Yeah, that was my last visit. Yeah, see, they've got the colors there. They incorporated in the oranges and the peach and that they have like on the Longhouses. The funny thing for me is I can remember in the early 90s when it was all brown, and then it was late 90s they put the paint on the ends of the Longhouses and kind of did some of the decoration. And for me at the time, I actually didn't really like it. It's become iconic now for people that, like the Polynesian, those colors represent it. But for me, when I showed back up after they painted all that stuff, I was like, wow, it looks a little too cartoony for me. But it's definitely something that's grown on me, and it's definitely become something that people, understand is the Polynesian colors. So having something like that incorporated into the DVC maybe would have been a smart idea to kind of blend it in a little bit more. And who knows, maybe that will happen.
Yeah, the browns and the oranges, those blues. And I really like how the Longhouses on the top, they have the birds, right, painted on the edges, because when we first time we bought our son there, he was really into Angry Birds, so he was naming each Longhouse after a different Angry Bird that it reminded him of. And but I really enjoy that. I enjoy those colors at the Poly. Yeah, so I love that music that's just kicking there all day long, how relaxing it is, and like you said, the smells, just walking around. That's my vibe, because when I brought my Lapu Lapu onto the monorail, I have no idea how I snuck it on there, but got it on there and went over to the Grand Floridian and walked around. And like the people were staring at me like I was trying to steal something. And I'm like, I want to go back to the
every now and then you have to treat it like Vegas.
I did. I got onto the Kim's like, how did you get a Lapu Lapu on the monorail? I'm walking around the Grand Floridian half in the bag. And it's just, there's a different vibe there. It's like kind of, uppity and And I'm like, I don't fit in here. I want to go back to the Poly. I want to have my Hawaiian shirt on, and I want to drink instead of my pineapple. So,
yeah, it's much more relaxed, and like we were talking about, my site was kind of gearing people towards what to expect. Something I get asked a lot about, and I know we were going to talk about, especially since I literally just came back from Disneyland this last weekend. And I went to their club level at the Disneyland Hotel and saw the DVC being built. But one thing I get a lot of questions about, because it's hard to find, official information. You can't go to the Disney page and get really much, is club level. And of course the suites, which people are always asking, like, didn't even know they existed, let alone, they have their own lounge and they're part of club level. And it was a good, I had been to the club level at the Disneyland Hotel, I think in 2000. So it's been a long time, and it's been redone. I don't know that I was that impressed with it back in 2000, but we had a really good experience. It had great offerings. It was a great place to relax, look out the window, look at the parks, and the staff, I have to say, was amazing. And it reminded me of the days of the Polynesian club level, where you kind of went to see the staff again. I mean, the people that worked there were amazing.
God,
and
these pictures are making me feel so old. Sorry, I worked there at this exact time, so just flood me with memories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Somebody had mentioned when I was up there, it was actually an Imagineer. It's one of them that worked on Trader Sam's Grotto and the DVC stuff. I was there and I posted the pictures, and he Facebooked me and he said his only words were, "I miss the elevator." And at first I was thinking about the elevator. I'm like, oh, the elevator that was on the outside of the building. And I had totally forgotten about that being there. But yeah, I mean, it's like, everything kind of changes over time, and some stuff you start to forget about. And that's why I like to preserve it, especially with the Polynesian on my site, because people just forget.
And I do have to say that elevator was only cool for a few floors, and then it was too much. It was way too much.
So Jay,
yeah, and I tried to sneak into the. Go ahead. I was going to say we tried to sneak into the Adventureland suite, and that didn't work.
I've seen it. It's amazing.
I've seen vlogs of it, but yeah, that's it. But I mean, Jay, you worked at a Grand Californian, right? So then
I started at Disneyland Hotel.
Disneyland Hotel.
Grand, yeah.
Okay. So you worked at
It was like
both.
2000. We probably walked right by each other and never knew it.
And so they're building.
Oh yeah, I can't. Well, when we were there, they were building the DVC when I was there in 2000, looking out the lounge window there. I mean, this is now the latest construction that they're doing, but when we were there in 2000, actually, all the even the California Adventure was being built at the time. So we sat in the lounge and we watched all that, under construction back then.
Oh wow, nice. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Jay.
And then it opened, and we all went, "Oh."
Yeah.
Little disappointment. So Disneyland Hotel has a Trader Sam's, right? That's the original Trader Sam's.
The original.
And then the one at Disney World, and then there's also a terrace outside, right, at Disneyland Hotel as well, kind of the same. Is that how it goes? Right.
Tiki Terraces, the outside bar. They have a service bar actually outside too. They do make drinks inside and bring them out that side door, but they'll make drinks out at the outside bar. It's a nice experience because you can usually get in there a lot easier than get in on the wait list to get inside. It's a good last minute. You want to head over and get the same drinks, get the same appetizers. They have live entertainment out there sometimes. You can see the fireworks from there. So it's a nice spot to hang out, during the day, but especially in the evening. The Disneyland Hotel, the Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, kind of has, they have something similar. They have the inside bar. They have outside seating that's part of the bar. And they did build a service bar outside more recently. It wasn't there originally, and it's kind of attached to. They have a Tangaroa Terrace, they call it, and it's funny because that's what we had a Tangaroa Terrace at the Polynesian that used to be a restaurant,
right?
And that's their Captain Cook's. That's their quick service.
Okay.
There. So and it was funny because when they first opened up, it was around the time that Captain Cook's at the Polynesian had started introducing those. I don't know if you remember the touch screens they had for a while where you do your order off the touch screen. It was introduced at Captain Cook's as a trial, and then they moved it over to a couple other locations, I guess, but I know they had it in Tangaroa Terrace. I kind of liked it. You could just go up and pick what you wanted and then bring your receipt up and pay for it. But I guess they had issues after a while and decided to take them out. But, there's things about the two coasts that they share similarities, especially with the Tangaroa Terrace and the Trader Sam's. So I feel at home a little bit when I'm there.
Right.
Yeah, it's not the exact same. You definitely have like an East Coast, West Coast thing going on there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the themes of the two are different. Enchanted Tiki Bar is more of a like you're. Some people say an adventurers club. I don't know. It's eclectic inside. It's got a lot of hidden stuff. It's got stuff to represent rides. Like there's an Indiana Jones thing, and there's mass oceanic arts and Adventureland stuff and Jungle Cruise stuff and Piece of the Tree from the Swiss Family Robinson hanging out of the wall and stuff like that. But the Imagineers went with a little more of a nautical, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea kind of thing with Grotto. So you see the octopus, and you got Oa from the Tiki Room, and they just did a little bit different spin on that one, which is nice. At least it's not a copy. You get different experience at the two. They even have some drinks that are different. They're not identical at each coast. It makes it worth. In fact, we want to do a thing for. We have another page that's Trader Sam's Coast to Coast, and one thing we've talked about, and we talked about doing it a while back, and we still need to do the logistics, is we want to get a group and we want to go to the Trader Sam's Grotto and Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar in the same day.
I'm
so
in.
We'll see if we can pull that one off.
That would be very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
It's gonna be first drink the minute they open and last drink the minute they close, but I think we can pull it off, and it'd be kind of a cool thing to do.
I'm doing the math in my head right now.
Well, plus our friend's an air traffic controller, so he's trying to figure out the logistics of the flights and all that. So have your backpack ready, because we're jumping on the flight as soon as that first drink's down.
No, just carry on only.
Right.
Exactly.
That's how I can go.
Yeah. You're not
Kim
going to need
wants to
much.
go
Right?
too.
Yeah.
Kim
wants
wants
to
to
go.
come.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
And I promise not to use.
Yeah, I'll let you know when it's coming up.
Dave, I think you and me need to be in on that.
Yeah, I would love to. But I'm also going to need, drinks on the plane as well, because that's a long time in between not to have something in my hand.
Yeah. I'll bring my mixer. I'll bring my shaker.
Yeah.
We need to bring our own plane margarita maker.
I'm going to pull up some of the other photos that Steve had sent along. So this is inside the remodeled club lounge right over at the Polynesian in Disney World.
Yeah, that opened up. Well, so we were there. When were we there? We were there during COVID when they had all this closed off. We were there. This is when DVC was just open only, but they let some people stay in the Hawaii building. Probably overflow or whatever. So we were in the Hawaii building, and this was closed off, but we got a peek. It's open now, and then the funny thing was this? Oh, this was for the anniversary. So on the anniversary, they opened it up to a special event for Club 33 members, and that was kind of the first viewing of the new lounge. They redid both lounges because so some people don't know, Club Level started in '85. And what it was a room in the would be a boutique now in the Great Ceremonial House, and what it was is any lagoon view room that you booked at that time, because there was no club level Longhouse, so any lagoon view room that you booked, which was any view facing the water, because they didn't have theme park view, you could add on club level, and so you had access to that lounge in the Grill House for food and drinks and service, things like that. Eventually, they added on to the end of the Hawaii Longhouse, removed some there was a lounge, a lobby area of the Longhouse and some rooms, and they made the lounge, which is all 3 floors. You have the check-in kind of concierge at the bottom. It used to be called concierge. Middle is where the food and drinks and seating areas, and then there's an upper level that's kind of now it's TV for kids, cartoons and books and games. Right. And and then there's also a club lounge in the suite. So if you book a suite in Tonga, you have your own smaller lounge, which I sent you pictures of that too, that has some of the same offerings in a smaller area. But you actually also have access to the lounge in Hawaii. There it is right there. So you have access to the lounge in Hawaii club level also if you're staying in a suite. So it's nice. I mean, you can go right outside your room and get some things here and bring them back to your room. Or you can go all the way over to Hawaii and get a little bit larger variety of amenities. And for a while, I don't know if they're ever going to bring it back. I don't think they're going to. But for a while, when you stayed in a suite, you had a menu of items that you could order for room service. Like, what do we had? We had pot stickers and the wings from Ohana, and we had salads, and we had everything for breakfast: Tonga toasted fruit and Mickey waffles, and I mean all this stuff for free. Order as much as you want. And this is if you're staying in a suite. But I have a feeling that's probably not coming back, at least from what I hear. Which it was kind of a nice perk. I mean, you pay a lot for those suites.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
All these pictures make me want to walk away from everything and move in.
Move in.
Yeah, there's some of the daily offerings in the lounge. One thing I wanted to say is, I want to say the Disneyland Hotel, the offerings of the Polynesian are good. They went their cycle. I think in the 90s and 2000s, the offerings were pretty spectacular. They had, Chef Dick. Chef Dick was the chef that was there for a long time. He had some amazing stuff. I have a lot of his recipes he gave me when he retired. He was just very creative. He had some great stuff. And then, he left and things changed and amenities started to kind of reduce. And, like the fruit went from being very tropical, exotic to kind of your average, bananas, orange, apples. So you can kind of see the quality go down a little bit. And then more recently, I think they've been trying to step it back up, especially breakfast. I found now they have hot items for the breakfast, which is kind of nice at the Polynesian. And some of the things they're trying to bring back or offer more. I still don't ever reached what it was at its peak, and it may never. But at least I think they're trying to head in the right direction. Yeah. But I'll tell you, the Disneyland Hotel, their offerings were as good as I've seen in a club level. And I've been to a few. I've been Contemporary, Animal Kingdom. I've seen the Grand Floridians, and then obviously I've been going to the Polynesian club level for 20-something years. So, you see the difference. But like I said before, the big difference was the people in the lounge at the Polynesian used to be just like family. And they just were helpful, friendly, everything you'd want in the experience. And it's been a little bit different, I think, maybe turnover or whatever at the Polynesian lately, but and maybe training, I don't know. But they still, the people we experienced recently have been really, friendly and helpful at the Polynesian for sure. And the managers, I think, have been much improved lately. But when we went to the Disneyland Hotel, it was kind of like, it reminded me of the Polynesian. There was people that had been there for forever. And they know what they're doing, and they know how to do it. And they just made you feel like you were the most special person on the planet the minute you walked into the lounge. I almost felt it was almost embarrassing. I'm like, you don't have to, be at my beck and call like this. I mean, seriously, I can even bring you my own dish. You don't have to clean up it. The minute I spill something, you don't have to come over and wipe it up. But they were helpful, friendly. They're amazing. But what I'm saying is you could feel it was just, and it was genuine. It wasn't like they felt like they were forced to serve you. They really were trying to connect with you. And I think that made it a big part of our experience at the Disneyland club level, for sure.
Wow. Just want to take a quick second here to just say hello to everybody watching live. Thanks for spending some of your Saturday night with us here. We really appreciate you guys tuning in and being a part of our conversation here with Steve and just kind of talking about all things Poly and Disneyland Hotel. And so we have somebody, the Universal Hector from Disneyland. Hey, what's going on, Hector, and everybody else watching? I do a lot of watching the blogs. I'm a blog watcher, and I really like watching the blogs on the suites. I've never stayed in a suite at the Poly. It's a dream of mine. I would like to stay at a suite or in the bungalow, one of the bungalows. So I'll watch it from there. And you've experienced that. And I think, that's what's also cool about the page, because you and other people that are in the page put the offerings there for people to see. Like you said, it's not like it's really available. If you stay concierge at a Disney resort, it's very hard to kind of find what they have, the offerings and photos of it. But these, these pages or groups like ours and yours, we have information like that available, which I just think is phenomenal, because the first time I stayed with my family, we stayed at Wilderness Lodge and we stayed club level. And I couldn't really find like the menus and any information on it. It was so difficult. And I'm like, I want to know what's in the club level. I want to know what it looks like. What are my offerings? Even what kind of beer is in the refrigerator? I heard there's beer there. What can I grab, from the fridge? So I think that's very cool that people share that information, and you know what your offerings are if you're staying, club level.
Well, especially with something that costs so much. I was doing breakdowns of the differences, and we're talking, anywhere. There's a range of prices, obviously season and everything plays into it, but we're talking, anywhere from $250 to $350 a night more at both. I looked at both Disneyland Hotel out in club level. I'm not sure about Grand California. I'm assuming it probably be similar. And then Polynesian, I compared like standard theme park view to club level theme park view. And we're talking, $315 difference a night. Then add tax onto that, right? So, and the question you always get, I have for years, and I see all over the place in forums is it worth the extra cost?
Right.
Well, I think that you got to start off with, if you're really asking and you're that worried about the money, don't do it.
Right.
And if it's an add-on to the experience, it's not necessary. I mean, you can make. I don't ever think you're going to make a meal out of it. You can make a meal out of it, but don't count on it being your meals, and you're going to save by not going to restaurants. That will happen, but I don't budget like that. I just don't assume it's going to be for that reasons. It's just a nice perk to add on to the experience. And if you're really struggling and the money is going to be a problem, then it's not worth the stress to add on a perk like that.
Right. Yeah.
Because I know when I'm going there, I'm going to do something like that. I am going to spend money no matter what. This is going to cost me. So it's kind of a special thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I did a breakdown on, my old site. I'm looking at the page right now. I used to have I had a planning section, and in my planning section, that was one of the first things I had, club level or standard. The question, I always get, what should I do? And I would go through kind of what you expect when you have the club level. You have the private concierge desk to help you with your planning and things like that. It's hard to put an amount on what that value is. So there's some perks, but if you do kind of save if you utilize the lounge. If you're going to be going into the parks from early morning to late night, then don't. But if you're kind of going to be in and out or spend a lot of time in the resorts, I mean, for us, we were saving on not having to go buy, how much is a bottle of water now anyway, $4 or whatever. And, we were getting beer instead of going down to, right next to the pool. So we can get beer from the lounge instead of paying for it at the pool all day long. Snacks would tide us over instead of having to go buy something from Captain Cook's, which I feel like I'll walk in there and I drop $10 just for a French fry. And then, there's evening offerings. You could easily make it your dinner. I mean, it's not a meal, but it's nice offerings. And maybe if you're not that hungry, it's just the perfect amount. And then you don't end up going to a restaurant and spending whatever, amounts. The amounts are just crazy now that you spend on food. So it can help. You'll get some value out of it, but I just, some people maybe you need to experience it through others. Like like you're saying, we show you what the experience is like and then decide, which hopefully is helpful enough to help people decide. And they don't go in going, oh man, I shouldn't have spent this money. I personally think with the money you spend on the bungalows, they should have club level access, because that was the one thing I felt a little, I loved it. I wanted to live there. No. And you can't even add it. I mean, you know what? But between you and me and no one else is listening, right? You could probably throw enough money at somebody that they'd give you access, and it would never be an official thing. But you can't. Even if you said, "Hey, charge me $500 a night more for the bungalow to let me walk over and go into Hawaii's lounge," it's not a thing. And I can't believe that, because with the money you spend on those things, I mean, look at the suites. You spend that much money, and you get 2 lounges out of it.
We're talking about like 2 nights in a bungalow to do like renew our vows. I was just going to go raid the club level for alcohol.
Well, make sure I'm here at the same time, and I'll just open the door for you.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
that
you know,
either.
my friends did that. They did their wedding in a bungalow, and it was amazing. I mean, it really is an experience. And don't plan on going anywhere because you just want to stay in the bungalow all day long.
Right.
And seriously, but I think for me, I would love to do a bungalow again. We've done them twice for short durations. I've been in all the suites. We've stayed in a couple of them. Most recently, we had the Princess Suite, the one bedroom. That's a great experience too. It's not the view that the bungalows have for sure, but they're amazing rooms. And you know, with the price of what the club level rooms are becoming, it's really not that much of a stretch anymore to get a suite. You know, especially if you have enough people in it, or if it's like the multi-bed. You know, like the Ambassador has 2 bedrooms, or the King Kamehameha has 2 bedrooms. You can even add on the honeymoon suite as another bedroom. But you know, you may be able to make it kind of work, and it is a pretty cool experience being in the suites. So it's something I think if somebody can swing it even for like a night just to check it out for yourself, you know, add it onto your trip towards the end or something. Have that be you look forward to staying in the suite your last night because then you get lounge access the whole day after checkout. So you can go to both lounges until you drive home, fly home. Whatever you do, you can hang out in there.
Not gonna lie, I plan on spending at least one night in that bungalow, just in that private jacuzzi, looking at the castle all night. From dusk to dawn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that is pretty nice. And you know, they got the music piped in with the volume you can adjust out on the deck for the fireworks, and little shower out there. And yeah, it's a pretty amazing experience. I'll tell you, it's one of my favorite things. I think they did a great job with them. I know some people aren't huge fans of them, and they hate. We all hate that they blocked the view and took, you know, half the beach access away. But it is what it is now. I think they're a little still overpriced, but it's an amazing experience for sure.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. So I thought about this too, and I think a lot of people have complained about the amount of points it takes or the price it takes to stay in a bungalow. Do we think there is a chance they can lower those once they add this new building here on the Poly property, and because it's going to have 1 and 2 bedrooms, do we think that might like offset those points?
Well, so I'm not the DVC expert. My friend is, but we've had kind of discussions like this, and I'll probably butcher the explanation. But I know there's so many points per DVC resort, right? And they have to like allocate them. They should, like, if one goes down in price, the other one's got to go up or whatever. I think that actually did happen a little bit. I want to say in the last few years. I don't know, maybe it was during COVID or something. I thought he had told me they did adjust a little bit in that, not by probably enough for it to really make a huge difference. But there's speculation that could happen with the new DVC, but I guess we really have to see how the new DVC contracts are even going to work on whether or not that could affect it or not. I think it would make sense to them to do that because, like you said, I can't imagine the 2 or 3 bedroom rooms they'll have in the new tower are going to be the cost. Well, the 2 bedrooms, I don't see them being a cost of the 2 bedroom because the bungalow is a 2 bedroom basically, you know, room. I can't see them being equal in point cost in any way. So I don't know. Will the grand villa they have there be the same as a bungalow? Probably, but you're getting an extra room and it'll probably be a lot bigger. So I don't know. I think we got to wait and see.
Yeah.
Oh, the view's going to be amazing for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing in front of you. You know, and I don't think they even have rooms that are on a ground floor in the new tower. So there won't even be like the chance of like Beachcomber Island blocking some of the castle or something like that.
And that's
It'll
so
be
smart.
just a straight shot.
Yeah.
You know, there was rumors they were going to build stuff out on Beachcomber Island as a DVC room, like on an island. And was trying to remember the explanation is how that was going to work. Like if you wanted to leave your room from an island, I don't think they're going to give you a boat to use. They're going to have somebody there all the time to pick you up or what.
I want my bungalow on the island, and I want my little chauffeur to pull me back and forth, and I want massages at that price.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he'll be in an outrigger, and there'll be like hula dancers on the front. So yeah, they'll get you covered.
I ring the bell, and he just comes across with a wave rider.
They have to light the torch.
Yeah.
Somebody asked earlier if the story, John Lennon.
John Lennon.
John Lennon. John Lennon. If the story is true, because we were told that. So he signed the papers on poly property in a room that I guess still in some fashion exists. Maybe it's
yeah. So there's a lot of confusion about that, and so the confusion comes from the fact that the original person that brought him to the room, talked about it and said that he took him to a room in Hawaii. So if you hadn't been to the Polynesian way back when, you'd think Hawaii was the club level building, but Samoa used to be called Hawaii. So the Samoa building now was the Hawaii building then. So he was in Samoa, the Samoa Longhouse. The other thing is I don't know where that all of a sudden started that he was in the corner room, which would have been 1601. Because the guy that talked about bringing him to his room said he doesn't remember the room number, but he did say it definitely wasn't the last room. It was somewhere in the middle of the building facing the then Nanea pool. So we don't know exactly what room it was, somewhere along that middle span, maybe 1605, 1606, somewhere in mid-span. But it definitely wasn't 1601, but I know a lot of people try to push that story as fact. And as far as the people I've talked to that were supposedly there at the time, that is what happened. And yes, he was there at the time. They were on a trip to Florida. And you see that picture? You ever see? I actually have it on my site in my history, where he has the Mickey Mouse shirt on, and there's the interesting guy behind him in the gold Speedo that everyone loves to comment on. But so that's funny because that picture actually isn't at the Polynesian. It was actually at some other resort they went to while they were on their Florida trip that was in, I think, Fort Lauderdale. I wrote it down in my history section, but I don't have it memorized. But a lot of people think that he has the Mickey Mouse shirt on, that was the picture of the Polynesian.
Now I have a whole new idea for our Mickey's Not So Scary theme for our dress up.
The gold Speedos?
Oh.
John Lennon and someone in Speedos.
I'm not doing, I can't be John Lennon, and I'm definitely not. We're pulling up a Speedo, but
I'll be John.
Yeah, yeah. And if you've seen the guy, I'm not hairy enough to be the guy in the Speedo, because that guy had full coverage going on there. So.
That's part of the costume. You just put the rug on.
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
Get it from somewhere else.
Where Chewbacca came from.
He would make a good Chewbacca if you wanted to put him in Batu.
Yeah.
What does this guy want? He can't. He comes in late.
Did I make it, guys? Did I make it?
What are you doing? It's the end of the show. You're coming on. Look at this guy.
Hello.
Look, show again, just to say
he's ready for the subject.
He's ready.
I'm
Say hi to
ready.
Steve, Alan.
Give me all the poly history.
What?
Yeah, there's a drink for you.
There it is. So my wife, we heard that. So John Lennon was actually on a break from Yoko and was with a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
May Peng? Yeah, it wasn't Yoko with him. Yeah.
Okay, right. So that is
Yoko was actually he was Yoko's assistant. She was like, "Please get John out of my hair for a while."
Yeah, right.
Take him away. That's funny. There's so much, I think, that not just like the poly history, but again, I mean, like the culture, the music, and the drinks that I would love to dive into. And we're at an hour already, so I think we have to have you back on another night, Steve, to kind of maybe recapture some of that. And so Steve has a Polynesian like themed bar, right? And makes all these fantastic drinks and has all these great mixers that
my Mai Tai, and my wife here, she's got her. Well, we call it you come on over. You can get in camera. She knows how to hula dance too. She trained when she was a kid. Come on over. You're the expert. She's been going since 70. She's gone every year since 1977.
Wow.
Elizabeth, my wife. Yeah, so we battle over who's more of the expert. But yeah, we enjoy the drinks very often, so we'd be happy to go down to the bar that has some things from the Polynesian, including I have a boat behind my bar it was mounted in the luau that they removed it in 2002 when they redid the luau back then. It's only one of two that exists. The other one is actually behind the bar at the Tiki Terrace. And what it is it's a mold, the same mold they use for the tiki room boats that hang from the ceiling, but they made a half mold because they mounted against a wall. So it's half the boat with a wall mount. And we have that in our bar above it. And so we'll have to show you that when we do the drinks.
You don't want to see me. I was feeding you.
Oh, you're feeding me all. She said I didn't need to see her.
Yeah,
She's
I'm
feeding me
feeding
all
all
the
the
answers.
answers. So
We have to have you both back on.
Yes.
So we can drink tiki drinks and talk about Disney 77 to now.
Yeah.
And I want to
Definitely.
know from Elizabeth,
Perfect.
did he keep all the facts straight?
Oh yeah. So you're fact checking. You want to know if
Did I keep all my
Steve
facts
was
straight?
right.
you did okay.
Yeah, she said I'm good.
Hey, okay.
In Italian, we call that men's and men's. Kind of okay. Huh?
We I do have to rely on her sometimes when I see. I've seen a lot of the Polynesian throughout the history, through photos, through being there, like that. But she's seen a lot of stuff in person, staying there. She stayed there multiple weeks. Every single year. So like I'd see something and I'd go, do you remember where this was? I just posted a picture today that was of a sign that was carved for the walkway to the Polynesian. And it took me a while to figure out where it was because the lady said it was in the 90s. So it would have been after all the longhouses were built because the last few were built in 85. But it was looked really far away from that path that goes into the Polynesian that has the sign saying, Polynesian Resort. And I guess what it was is there used to be a larger span between that little pathway that went in and the Transportation and Ticket Center. They had less of the parking, whatever, those buildings that are there. So there was a longer winding path to the Polynesian, even in the early 90s. And I honestly don't remember ever seeing that sign there because when I stayed there in the mid 90s, it was gone. It was different. So sometimes, she definitely will say, oh, yeah, I remember that was here or that was there or they used to do this or the food, at the restaurants was this. And, when Ohana was Pepe Te Bay and things like that. So for sure, she definitely fills in a lot of the stuff that I just, through all the research and all the being there, just can't fill in the gaps of that experience of all the multiple days she spent there, over so many years.
But you get us to the room with your eyes closed every time.
Yeah, she does laugh at me though. She says I can close my eyes and I can walk down a hallway and stop in the hallway where our room will be
Every time.
And
that is a skill.
I've done the Longhouse. I do the Longhouse maps and draw out all the building, and everything. It's like burnt into my brain where every room is in that resort.
My wife, you know what, Kim, send those pictures, or you could just put them in up on the Tiki Man's page, but definitely send them to Steve because, or unless I don't know how quick she can put it up there, but she has a photo that I think she's been trying to figure out where that photo was taken when she was a little girl, and then she has other photos of when she was younger and stayed at the Poly. So my first trip
that's
to
awesome.
Poly,
I love to see him.
Yeah, definitely. I did not go to the Poly until I was an adult, but she was there as a child. So, yeah, she said she'll post when she gets. What do you mean?
We need to get
when we get
wives
home.
on.
Yeah, and I take all these
together.
I take all these photographs and that I get sent. I ask for permission to use them, to post them, and then I put them into my album, my Flickr album, in different years. If it's like a 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, or if it's the restaurants or activities or whatever. I even have a whole section of all the construction pictures I gather over the years, either taken by myself or others that help me. It shows people what it looked like when they built the different pools or when they built DVC or when they built whatever. And it's nice to look back on that stuff because that stuff just gets so lost and nobody really stores it all to go through and look back at.
No, definitely. And so, there's a lot of information that, like, for me is important to tell people, especially when you're going to stay somewhere like the Poly. Because Steve, you mentioned earlier, if you're doing like club level or staying in a suite, you may also want to consider not even going to the parks, just enjoying the resort is an extension of the parks, right? And the theming is beautiful. I could spend a week literally staying at the Poly and not have to go to the parks. There's that much, for me to see there and take in, because if you take your time and enjoy it, but if you're spending that money for club level, or you're spending that money for a suite or a bungalow, enjoy your time there. Good night, Cornell. Thanks for tuning in, bud. And the other deluxe resorts. I mean, there's so much theme that goes into these resorts. It's incredible.
Yeah, I also have suggested to people, I know we kind of joked about adding on a suite at the end of your stay for a night, but to be honest, I told people don't book a suite and don't book a bungalow for one night. Like if they're really pushing it, we're going to use all of our points because we want to see a bungalow for one night. Because here's the problem with that. You get in, if you're lucky, at 4:00 and they're knocking on your door to get out of there at 11.
Right.
So you just don't get to experience either of those. You got to do 2 nights. If you want to try and experience it, do it for 2 nights, because otherwise you're just not really there to, and definitely don't go into the parks. Don't pay for it and then go into the parks and you're in there for 5 minutes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we always spend at least one full day at the resorts during our trips. So we go every April because my wife's a teacher here in New Jersey. And we will schedule one day that we do not go to any of the parks, and we just sit by the pool. We spent one of those days with Jay, actually. He was out in Florida, and make it a resort day and really take in the resort. It's just don't waste. Yeah, you waste all your time in the park and you're spending money on a room. I mean, the rack rate on these rooms is a lot of money, so you got to enjoy it. Who said? My wife said, the original lobby. Yeah, that's another thing we can. So I really think, if you'll come back and join us again, Steve, I think, we can talk more about this, because we can get into the original Poly lobby and just so much more about, the culture and things that go into it. But again, the drinks and the food.
As always, I was just jumping in to mess with all you all and throw you off your game, and I need to jump off because
I was just going to say, I promise to disinfect Alan next time.
Because we barely acknowledge you, Alan, and I'm sorry, but you do look adorbs.
I do. I have this great outfit planned for tonight. Grad school is really throwing off my game, but I miss you all, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks.
That's right. And so
I just hit my mic. Don't hit your mic.
That's okay. We forgive you. I think you're going to have to make a decision, though, Alan. Disney Night Live over grad school, because we need to spend more time with you.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Allen.
Disney Night Live, Dr. Allen.
We have Gideon's cookies.
Oh, yeah.
My university is closer to Gideon's than you guys are.
All right. I see where this is going.
You'll make it work.
Yeah.
Go back to your schoolwork.
And one more thing, Jay Smell.
Oh,
he's gone.
Damn, I almost had his mic off in time.
I knew it was coming.
I almost had his mic off.
We want to remind folks, that are watching, and we put our episodes up now as a podcast, so we'll have it up probably by next week, and we put it out there through Libsyn, and it goes to all these different cool podcast places where people can listen. So I want to remind everybody to check out www.facebook.com/Tikiman pages. That is Steve's page, Tiki Man's Unofficial Polynesian Resort Pages, which is on Facebook. And you can get a lot of cool information there and history and, everything we were talking about tonight. And then I want to thank Steve definitely for joining, and also Elizabeth in the background for fact checking you.
Yes.
And making sure all the information we were getting is on point. That's very important indeed. We want to remind our folks out there too about all the cool stuff we talked about. Right, we had a great deal of the week at Bayley Tower from dvc-rental.com. 2-night stay. Please check that out. Don't forget our promo code, which is NTV50, to save $50 off of the reservation, any reservation. So you get $50 off the reservation at booking. And say hello once again to our friends over at D Magic World. People over at D Magic World, check out Tiki Man pages on Facebook. You guys will love it. We're a bunch of wise guys over here, Steve.
I really enjoyed it, Dave. Thanks.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. I mean, it went by like really quick.
Really
I'm a little
fast.
sad, but yeah, I know that you're on Cali time, so it's about what 6:15 there, right?
6:10, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about the Polynesian, so we could definitely do more shows because I don't think people that have been going for a long time understand how much there is to that resort, how much has changed that we could talk about forever.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens. Every time I have a conversation, you think it's going to be a quick thing about, the Polynesian, how much can you talk about? But it could go on and on and on.
I call it the happiest place on earth for a reason. I mean, it is my favorite place on Disney property.
Yeah, it really is. Definitely.
Yeah.
We're going to do our intro, or not our intro, our outro. Steve, don't go anywhere. So you'll just be in the background while we're playing out, and then we'll just chat for a minute.
And
afterward.
Alan got me, so I guess Jay smells this week.
Jay,
Thanks, Alan.
You smell wonderful. You smell wonderful.
I do actually.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We love you guys.
Bye.